Now, you mentioned getting some good food in. Obviously, I heard recently, well, I kind of knew it, but some people don't understand the importance of diet, especially before or after doing activity. So let's take gym, for example. People think going to the gym is going to make you put on muscle. But then what I heard was when you're going to the gym, you're actually tearing it. And then you need to go back in after it, go back, fuel up with your protein to heal it back up pretty much. So what would a day-to-day be like for you? Say you're going for a run and then you're doing a gym session afterwards. What are you having prior and what are you having post?
Yeah.
And is that right? Is it you're tearing it in the gym pretty much?
Yeah, 100%. So when we're in the gym, we're making like causing micro damage to the muscle. And what happens when we cause micro damage, your body goes, oh, wow, that wasn't strong enough, or that wasn't, the tissue needs to be built back up bigger to handle those loads again. So that's what it is. We tear it down a little bit and it just grows a little bit bigger than what it was. That's the whole point of going to the gym. So it's like in the gym, we're actually breaking it down. Then in our rest and recovery is when we're actually building that muscle. So that's where nutrition comes into one of our big rocks of recovery. And that a lot of that repair happens when you're sleeping as well. So as a rule for building muscle, you want to be having like however much you weigh, approximately like double that in grams of protein. So I'm about like 90 kilos. So about 180 grams, give or take 10, 20 grams each side of that is a good range of protein to have every single day. And you want to have that evenly across your meals. You don't want to just have 180 at dinner. You want to have that evenly across the day because we're trying to spike something called muscle protein synthesis, which is just a form of where you're most likely to build muscle. So going back to your question before, carbs are our fuel. So before we go into a training session or a game, you want to be you want to have carbs in your system available to be turned into energy. So the closer you get to your training or game, you want to have higher GI carbs. So they're more your fast releasing carbohydrates. So they're more like almost like your unhealthy stuff. That's like you see lollies and things like that being given out at footy or oranges, things like that. Things that are broken down really fast. So maybe a few hours before a game or a train, you have some like slower release carbs. So that's just like your typical, like your pasta, rice, your wholemeal breads, your oats, etc. Then as you get closer to game, you want to have your more fast releasing carbs. That's where you might go to your
fruits.
Yeah, absolutely, sugary fruits. Your pretzels, your white breads with like honey or jam or
and want to be light on, wouldn't it?
100%. You want to feel good, so you don't want something that's going to sit in your guts. And those stuff, the beauty of those, they digest really, really fast. So think slower releasing big meals, and then as you get closer, smaller but fast releasing like fruits and things like that close to the game. So that's how you want to fuel up, and then post that. You want to be having protein every 3 to 4 hours anyway, but chances are if you've been exercising for a couple of hours, you haven't had protein close to that beforehand anyway, so you want to get some protein in after you train. But there's no certain window that you need to get protein in. However, it is more optimal, as I sort of said at the start, to have protein evenly across your day. That's probably eating every 3 to 4 hours, and just by nature of that, they'll probably fall straight after a gym session or a game of footy or something like that.
Yep. So then are you looking to so how heavy are you going afterwards?
So let's say I wouldn't be, depends on what the meal is. Like it's a lot easier to get.
Is there a window like that you shouldn't be eating, like say straight after? Should you let yourself settle first maybe? I don't know.
No, that doesn't really matter as much the timing. For that matter, it's more just hitting your protein consistently across the day. So if you're training late at night and you've already had big protein breakfast, big protein lunch, big protein dinner, and like some pre-protein, a pre-gym snack or something like that with protein in it, you probably don't need to have any more. Whereas if you're training first thing in the morning before breakfast, you want to probably have a big protein breakfast. You know what I mean? So that's just ticking off you're going to eat 4 times throughout the day. Make sure that you got a good amount of protein in every single one of those meals. And then typically that will just sit in between a gym session, I'm sure.
What's your take on fats first? I'll just touch on that. Total fats that you need to be taking. How important do you find that? Or do you try and steer away from the fats?
Yeah, healthy fats are critical, just for your overall health and well-being. So, I wouldn't recommend like a high fat diet for athletes, just because it's not as the fats take longer to break down and turn into energy than carbs. So, because carbs are our main like fuel source when it comes to exercise. So, if you're going to be doing sport and playing cricket or playing footy, you're going to want to have carbs in your system over fats. And fats can often lead to you feeling heavy. Like you've got a big steak, you're feeling pretty heavy afterwards. So fats are absolutely great for good healthy fats are great for overall health and well-being, which is what you need to have. But just try not to have them before you need to go exercise is what I'd say to that. And
why is it some people obviously see you're posting a lot of clips a lot lately, doing well on social media, but why do you see some people say influence or that say carbs are the enemies? What is your take on that, and why do people mistake carbs as being the enemy?
It's either some people aren't educated at all on what, and they have no idea what they're talking about. Number one, so they're either ignorant or they're lying to people.
Yeah,
they're lying. The cold hard facts would be they're lying to people on social media just because comments without nuance get a lot of views, they get a lot of followers, and then they want to turn those followers into money.
Yeah.
If you break it down, that's probably the main reason why I do it. They're trying to lie to you, to cause some sort of emotional response to make you follow them, and then they're going to put you into their ecosystem, and then they're going to try and sell to you and try and make money. I think that's actually probably the simplest read. Like when it boils down to it, either that or they just don't understand how the human body works at all, and they're a lot of the time the influencers online in the fitness scene are just people who have like really good bodies, but they actually have no education at all to back it up.
Yep.
And people go, oh, they look like that, so I must listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it's like they probably just have really, really good genetics, or they just have found something that works for them, but they only have one experience. Whereas an educated person can help many different people because they have the principles to go back on.
Yep.
To help people in a variety of different scenarios. So, yeah, it's either they're lying to make more money or they're just uneducated at all.
Yeah, because I know there's a guy who goes to my gym. He runs a coaching platform with another person, and they always say, people sometimes say, oh, I'm eating all this, but I'm not putting on muscle. They always go, one, you're not eating enough, and two, you're eating the wrong shit. You need to be eating and filling yourself with the right stuff. Otherwise, you're wasting your time.
100%. When it comes to like weight, like loss or gain, it does come down to like calories in versus calories out in the day. Like at a biological level, where the nuance comes in is that with the coach, there's different strategies and ways how you can get to that result. But in the day, it just comes down to that. You aren't either, if you want to gain weight, you're not eating. You're putting enough energy in, and you're probably not putting enough protein as well to actually build that muscle up. It is as simple as that, but then how you actually get to that is where the nuance comes in.
Yep. Sugars. What do you take on sugars?
So every like carbohydrates is sugar when it's broken down to. So when you break down like a carbohydrate, it breaks down to glycogen, which is sugar. So when people say that, it's like sugar is carbohydrates. However, I think like added sugar and things like that, there's a time and a place. So go back to what I was sort of saying before is like your slower release carbohydrates are the ones that probably have like not much added sugar into it. They're probably whole foods with no added sugar. But when you want to have, a fast spike in energy and you want to have that fast releasing food, you want to shoot foods that are more like sugary, because it breaks down faster, because it's closer to that. It's a simpler carbohydrate, so it breaks down faster into energy. So for athletes, let's say if we're working for a high-level cricketer, before you go out and bowl or bat, absolutely get some sugar in you. Where if you look at like the Australian healthy guidelines and things like that, it would be like eat sometimes food or something like that. That's for like just general people who aren't exercising much, and obviously you don't want to eat like high sugary, simple, fast releasing energy, because that's where you get your energy spikes and things like that. It's not consistent energy. So for the everyday person, you probably want to stay away from added, sugar food as like your main form of energy.
Mm-hmm.
But for high performing athletes who want to maximize their performance, critical. I feel like they have absolutely critical.